Hey. So, obviously, I've changed things up in here a little bit over the last week or so of lackluster uploads due to a project I was taking on inside. Anyway, for some reason that home house reno stair project ended up being the catalyst for me wanting to change this space up a little bit. Trying to take it from a place that gets so encroached with storage to a more modular, fun, activity and project driven space. We're gonna consider this space Warehouse V.001. Definitely not the size of the aspirational warehouse, but with all of the usability that that space will have to offer in the future. Just in a much smaller, tiny fraction of the space. As you can see, I've already taken it upon myself to make a little bit more space in the way of bikes. There's only 3 in here right now. There's 4 in here right now. There's one behind you. One of which, not mine, a project that we're going to do later this week, early next week. The motorbike is in here. It'll stay in here probably all winter because I do really want to get it done for the summer, especially with the bike rack on it. The bikes really do take up an absurd amount of real estate. So I've finally taken advantage of the other storage solutions that I've had since we bought this house, bought some hooks and have them hanging up in the much taller shed that is next to this one. The toolbox area, the workbench area, this like bit of storage that I have here has really truly been the bane of my existence every time I come in here. I always say I want to do a better job of keeping this all organized, including up here and over here. And literally every single time, every time I finish a project in here, I just sort of like gingerly sort of balance any mess all on top of each other. And if I just leave it in perfect equilibrium, nothing will fall. Which works for letting it sit there, but the minute I need something, it's, oh. So I think the first thing to do to make this all viable and then go to the next steps is solve the biggest problem here and get some of the small stuff that I've like for some reason had on display off of display into a better storage area because there's no need for it to all be out. This, at the end of every day, really should be cleared out and ready for the next day of shooting, and it never is. I had in my head that I wanted to get all of the really high touch tools that stay in the toolbox out of the toolbox to free up some drawer space and get them on the wall so that I can always see what's available, what's missing. It is hilarious and also ridiculous, but very par for the course for everything I take on, that I thought I would get this all done in one day. I'm still messing with the tool wall, whereas everything else is as if a small, violent, yet not deadly bomb has gone off. It is now day 2 of hammering away at this project. Obviously dressed a little bit differently. I expect today to go a lot quicker than yesterday. I would say that getting the tool wall all set up, which I'm very pleased with to look at, was truly and likely the most time-consuming part of this entire project. I think everything else just looks big and time-consuming, but it's not going to be so bad. My biggest concern for today is dealing with the mess of this drawer is a bad example. Is dealing with the messes of drawers that I now have here. They're all discombobulated and messed up, and the idea was that I get everything out of the drawers onto the wall so that I know what I have. Of course, I said that already. And then use these drawers as a way to store stuff that really doesn't need to be out, and it just creates the clutter that we have. So after picking away at each individual drawer of the toolboxes and getting them organized to a point that I was happy with, and then a not so quick reroute of all of the exposed wiring in here for the lighting and different charging systems, reorganizing all of the drawers that are in this shop allowed me to get rid of every bit of loose toolage, product that was sitting on just about every surface in here. Okay, yeah, things certainly seem a little neater and more organized, but I hardly see how that falls under the definition of modular, I hear you saying. Perhaps you've noticed this new addition to the shed here. This is a 1 foot quarter pipe with a 2.5 foot radius and a 1 foot deck. It actually doesn't take up that much space. This that I'm sitting on right here is its equivalent counterpart. Most of the time, I just push it up against the doors right here. I built both of these at the beginning of this week. I was a little bit concerned about what kind of space they might take up. Sort of pleasantly surprised to see they don't actually really take up that much. But what I want to be able to do is play around with them more, along with do everything else that we do in this shed. Yeah, BMXing, no good in here. Skateboarding, on the other hand, very doable. I couldn't do that before I built this. Just 180 land on the coping. I don't know what that's called. I don't know anything about skateboarding. Anyway, that seems a little advanced for this video that I'm trying to wrap up here now. I think you're probably starting to get the idea of what I mean by modular, but if it's not coming across, if it doesn't make sense, then take, for example, just moving a couple of the bigger, easier things to get out of the way. This motorbike jack, which honestly probably could leave. Super wide quarter pipe. This honestly, it could probably just go. All right, so there you have it. My very first and very elementary attempt at turning the small space that's available to me into the dream modular warehouse that I aspire to have later on as this channel grows. Funny enough, this 10 by 16 shack of a shed with 6 foot tall ceilings has all of the elements that I dream of when it comes to the warehouse that I want to build to produce videos out of. Some ramps to play around with, spacious enough still in this middle area, this area here, you can move these around to work on bikes with no problem, no overcrowding whatsoever. A place to showcase and have my motorbike inside so that it's not so out in the elements. Proper tool storage, just about everything you're gonna need to deal with anything that you really run into in here. And the ease and capability to swap between any of these activities without a whole lot of effort on whoever's part. You want to skateboard 1 hour, work on a bike the next, totally doable. Certainly, as the space continues to get used with all of this stuff going on in here, I'm sure there's going to be more things that I either take out, omit, and possibly some things I need to modify or add. The biggest thing is try not to fall into the old habits of continually bringing bikes in here. They don't need to be in here, they're just in the way. There's also this added benefit of a new platform to shoot bikes on. Pretty cool, right? Hey, so just before we're done here, I bought a new pack of ultra fine tip Sharpies. Because when you guys order sticker packs, you may or may not know, you get a one-of-a-kind small hand drawing that is included with it in every envelope, whether it's stickers, hats, or a shirt. The last 12 orders I did, I decided to do a series of sharks. Maybe you're gonna get one. I've got 12 new Sharpie fine point pens that are gonna make some great, terrible drawings for me to include to you in your order. The next 10 orders, I'm doing sloths.